The new patch has just arrived and there are some new and exciting changes coming with it. We have lots of upcoming new squad skin series coming too. So hold on tight and let's jump in. Hi guys, Kazuki here, and in this video we will discuss all the adjustments and changes which has arrived with the patch note 1.8.12. Let's start with the hero adjustments. Looks like the developers are focusing on support heroes this time around, as they want support units to pick utility equipment instead of defense equipment. Alucard is buffed, his passive is buffed. They have removed the effect where he would deal more damage to a single hero. Instead, now they have added a new effect where the crit chance of his basic attack is increased by 150% after casting a skill. His enhanced basic attack damage is increased from 1.4 times to 1.5 times. His skill 2 is buffed. The base damage from his skill 2 is increased by 150 points in the late game and remains the same in the early game. His ultimate is buffed. Hybrid lifesteal from ultimate is increased by 5% in the early game and 15% in the late game. Plus the slow duration from his ultimate has been extended by 2 seconds. Florine is getting adjusted. Her passive ability has been tweaked with equipment attributes shifting from 5% cooldown reduction to 5% HP regen. Skill 1 is adjusted. Its HP regen remains the same in the early game and has decreased by 25 points in the late game. The magic power has been increased by 65%. Her skill 1 cooldown increased by 1 second in the early game and remains the same in the late game. Her ultimate is being adjusted. The HP regen's magic power remains the same in the early game and decreased by 100 points in the late game. The extra magic power has been increased by 70%, while the cooldown has been changed to 60 seconds in the early game and 50 seconds in the late game. Rafaela is getting adjusted. Her skill 2 is getting adjusted. Her second skill HP regen for nearby teammates' magic power remains the same with the addition of increased magic power by 25%. The HP regen for the teammate with the lowest HP remains the same in the early game and is reduced by 50 points in the late game with an increase of 75% magic power. The cooldown remains the same in the early game and is decreased by 1 second in the late game. Estes is getting adjusted. His skill 1's first stage HP regen's magic power is increased by 70% and decreased by 75 points in the late game. Continuous HP regen magic power has been increased by 30%. Linking with the teammate now offers extra attack and hybrid defense. As for his enhanced skill 1, the first stage HP regen's magic power is increased by 140% and decreased by 100 points in the late game. Continuous HP regen's magic power is increased by 105% and decreased by 150 points in the late game. His ultimate's HP regen has been decreased by 30 points in the early game and 150 points in the late game. The magic power has been increased by 105%. Diggy is getting adjusted. His ultimate shield's magic power is increased by 200% and the shield is reduced by 120 points in the late game. Angela is getting adjusted. Her skill 1's HP regen's magic power is increased by 60% and HP regen is decreased by 25 points in the late game. Her ultimate shield's magic power is increased by 220% in the late game and the shield is decreased by 2400 points in the late game. To summarize all the support heroes' adjustments, their magic power is almost doubled in the late game and their skill stats are adjusted or nerfed according to it. Matilda is buffed. Her ultimate is buffed. Her ultimate can no longer be interrupted when the enemy approaches her. Aman is buffed. His ultimate's range is increased by 0.5 points. Phobius is buffed. His skill 1's recharge is reduced by 1.5 seconds in the late game. Mana cost is now fixed at 40. His skill 1 base damage increased from 50 points in the late game. His skill 2's cooldown changed to 13.5 seconds in the early game and 11 seconds in the late game. Luo Yi is getting buffed. Her skill 1 base damage is increased by 100 points in the late game and the magic power has been increased by 15%. Benedetta is getting buffed. Her skill 1 slash damage is increased by 25 points in the early game and 50 points in the late game. The physical attack has been increased by 20%. Its cooldown is reduced by 1.45 seconds in the late game. Moving on to battlefield adjustments. The auto-targeting range after kills has been toned down. The refresh indicator logic has been optimized to be much more smoother. Advanced CC abilities such as freeze, petrify and transform can now interrupt blink. Moving on to weekly free heroes. Weekly free heroes from 18 August to 25 August are as follows. Extra free heroes for Starlight member are as follows. Moving on to other graphic updates. The graphic quality of Mia's Jungle Ranger skin has been updated to have a more visually appealing look than ever before. The default display interface for Eurodesio heroes like Beatrix, Ixia, Xborg, Jhonson and more have been given a more fresh new look and a significant upgrade in graphic quality. New voice lines in their display animation for Jhonson, Xborg and Mia have been added and they sound okay. But I'm sure now everyone will miss the old Xborg voice lines.
Light me up and watch the world burn!
Skill effects for Xborg, Bruno and Mia have been added.
Fade into the moonlight.
I'm loving the self-destruct sequence initiating! Take him head on!
New voice lines in the game have been added for Jhonson, Mia and Xborg.
Self-destruct sequence initiating!
Don't blink or you'll miss me. Speed, that's the spirit. Nothing can stop my delivery. Perfect weather to go for a drive. Hold on tight, we're peeling out. Enjoy the adrenaline rush at lightning speed. I'll crush you into pieces! Let's make some noise! My spanner is handy for fast repairs and busting heads. Ugh.
Come here! I'm loving this cyborg body! Oh my, these are not fireflies, they're my dancing flames! Let fire incinerate all evils! Not even close! My patience is burning out! These scars can never be healed. Never!
Served and understated. Yes! Watch your back. May the moon have mercy on you. For Azria, our last homeland.
An enemy!
Perish in the sacred moonlight. The forest might burn. The moon may be dark. But our hope outlives everything. Fade into the moonlight. May the moon forever shine upon us.
The default background has been
My
changed.
enemies flow from my spear.
The backgrounds for the heroes are updated according to their lore. To fit the lore, Mia, Chao and Alpha have now been given the default display interface. Moving to survey part. Once again, ML has surprised me with so many themed surveys. The first one is called Evil Clones. The first member is Minotaur. I don't think I need to say anything. The design is just lit. Look at those hammers, his horn and overall look. Just think what his ultimate will look like. The second member of the squad is Balmond. The evil look and body which looks like cyborg makes the skin even better. Imagine him circling with sparks surrounding him. The third member of the squad is Martis. My all-time favorite skin of Martis is God of War. But maybe it's time to change that. Just look at that design. Will you guys not buy it? Moving on to the next squad, which is called Sherlock Holmes and John Watson Vampireverse. The first member as visible is Roger. The first glance is enough that he is a detective. I don't have much to say, but it does look cool in Roger. The second member is Faramis. Maybe Roger is Sherlock Holmes and Faramis is John Watson Vampireverse. Moving to the third squad, which is called the Wicked Fairy Tale. The first one is Melissa. The design is quite fancy. The second one is Ali. I don't know why, but it looks more like Pinocchio. Comment down your thoughts about it. The last member is Vexana. Maybe she is the one who leads this squad. Up next, we have the Arcane Society. The first member is Cyclops. In the design, he can be seen holding a weapon and probably a book full of mysteries. The second member is Atlas. The design is quite interesting, giving vibes of his recent epic skin. The last member is Brody. I don't know why, but he looks quite weirdo. Just look at his hands. This is probably what he will look like when he will use his ultimate. Moving on, we have a squad full of girls called the Sister of Revenge. The first member is Hilda. Well, everyone can relate to how good Hilda is at taking revenge. The second member is Karina. They thought it over again and again, I guess aiding perfect members in the revenge gang. The third or last member is Sylvana. The design is quite good. Maybe finally Sylvana can get better skin. Moving on to the last squad, we have the Battle of Gods. The first member is none other than Hilda with her huge muscles. Her weapons and the lion themed armor suits her. The second member is Tigreal. He looks more of a gladiator, don't you guys think? The third member is Moscow. He can be seen riding a horse carriage. I wonder what his skill effects will look like. The last member is Balman. Just look at his X. The flames really looks fearful. The artwork for Jhonson free skin in the anniversary event has been dropped and it looks dope. His armor got a serious upgrade in this one. And at last we have the survey for Wanwan 1111 skin. This skin sure looks very charming and pretty with the details of the hand fans and her hand gear. As an Alucard man, how happy are you right now? Which skin series did you like the most? What do you guys think about the changes? Do comment down below. That's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Keep supporting Kazuki Official.